Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, March the 24th. A smaller Thursday slate, just a 5-gamer today. But as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 5 games, break down each team, give my early thoughts, what I do like, taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players that specifically stand out to me on both Draftkings and on Yahoo. But as always, guys, appreciate you checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like button if you have not yet. If you are new to the channel, click that subscribe button as well. We recently did hit 25,000 subscribers, all thanks to your guys' support. I appreciate all you guys checking out the videos every day, hitting that subscribe button. Hit a big milestone pretty recently. And, from here on out, we're just going to keep climbing, just keep trying to reach new milestones, 30,000 subscribers, 35,000, 40,000. There's no telling where this channel could go. But I appreciate you guys helping me reach 25,000 subscribers. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button. I do upload these NBA videos Monday through Friday. I make Prize Picks videos as well. And, Prize Picks, they are the sponsor of this video. So if you want to check them out, you can sign up with my promo code Noah, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. For those of you that are new here, Prize Picks is a player prop based DFS site, so it's really simple. You're just going to be picking the over or the under on players' projections. You can take a look at their board for Thursday's games. They really don't have up a ton of props right now, but I'm recording this video on Wednesday night. As we get closer to tip-off Thursday, you'll start to see a lot of props added to the board. Usually like early in the afternoon on Thursday, they'll have their full board posted with all their player props. Again, you just pick the over or the under. You have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money. You can mix and match sports as well. Prize Picks does offer a ton of other sports outside of just NBA. So definitely give them a try. Check them out. Sign up and use promo code Noah, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And as always, guys, I will be sharing a couple of my favorite plays on Prize Picks in my video. I will make a Prize Picks video Thursday afternoon. We've been doing really well on the Prize Picks plays. The last 2 days, we've gone 7-1 on the 8 plays we've shared the last 2 days. So I've been giving out a lot of good picks on, in the Prize Picks videos. Make sure you're checking those out every day. Usually upload those in the early afternoon. So check that out Thursday when I get that video posted. But let's talk through these 5 games, guys. Let's start off with the Cleveland and Toronto game. So this is not one that looks, super appealing on the Cleveland side. Darius Garland obviously has a massive role right now and is playing big minutes every night. He's got the ball in his hands a ton. He's taking a ton of shots. But he's also 9,700, and this is a really tough matchup against Toronto. Toronto does a really good job defending guards. They trap a lot, and we've seen a lot of guards have pretty rough games against Toronto. Garland has struggled against Toronto this season, only averaging 38 DK points through 3 games against them. So don't love the spot for Garland here. He's probably someone I'm just going to be avoiding today, especially at this high price point. Evan Mobley, without Jared Allen, should continue to have a really good role, should play big minutes. If the game stays close, should get like 36, 37 minutes. He'll be around the rim to grab rebounds. His rebounds do see a nice spike with Jared Allen off the floor. Obviously, he's going to always be in the paint to get putbacks, to score. Again, the matchup against Toronto, I don't love, but I think Mobley is definitely playable today. He's probably my favorite play on Cleveland if I had to go to anyone on this team. The rest of the Cavs, though, like Lauri Markkanen and Kevin Love, Karis LeVert. I mean, LeVert's really cheap, but he just hasn't been that great with Cleveland. His role's just not been that great. He's just not been productive. So I really don't have any interest in LeVert. There's just not much I'm liking on Cleveland today. I think favorite play here is probably Evan Mobley. But on the other side of this game with Toronto, so the Raptors are a team we'll have to watch. When it comes to injuries, there are some injuries on a lot of teams today that we're gonna have to monitor, and the Raptors are one of them. So Gary Trent and OG Anunoby are both questionable. If they both play, I really don't see much I like on Toronto, especially because it's not the best matchup against Cleveland. This game's going to be played at a pretty slow pace. But if Gary Trent and OG are out, then that should mean pretty heavy roles for Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes. I think where they're priced at, Siakam would probably be my favorite. I just think 8,500 is too cheap for Siakam, especially if Trent and OG are both out. Obviously, Siakam would play massive minutes like he does every night. Don't love the matchup against Cleveland, but I think the role would be really good for Siakam. So I would be interested in him if those guys are out. Same with VanVleet. Scotty Barnes, I think is priced where he should be, so he's probably like my 3rd favorite Raptor. But I do want to mention the other guys. So if Trent and if Trent and OG are both out, I really like Chris Boucher. We've seen Chris Boucher's minutes be really good the last 2 games. Last game with Gary Trent out, Chris Boucher played 33 minutes, and the game before that, when Fred VanVleet was out, Chris Boucher played 39 minutes. So it seems like whenever one of the starters is out, at least right now, they're going to give Boucher big minutes, and he's going to be the guy that plays a lot. Even though he doesn't start, he'll still get big minutes off the bench. So would feel really good about Chris Boucher if OG and Trent are both out. Even if they don't start Boucher, I still think he'd be a pretty good option at 5K. We know he's a really good point per minute player. He's a guy that can be productive when he gets minutes. So definitely keep an eye on this Trent and OG news because it is pretty important. Could maybe get some value on Toronto, and definitely, guys like Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, or Scotty Barnes, Van Vliet, Siakam would all look appealing if Trent and OG are both out. But next game, Indiana and Memphis. So on the Indiana side, a lot to keep an eye on here. Malcolm Brogdon was out for rest on Wednesday. I'm guessing that he will play today, so I'm expecting Brogdon to play. But Isaiah Jackson, he returned from a concussion on Wednesday, and then I think he re-injured his, he had a headache, and he had to come out of the game. So I guess, maybe he got another concussion. I don't know. I think Isaiah Jackson will probably be out today. And then Jalen Smith, he was ruled out with an illness on Wednesday, so pretty good possibility that he doesn't play today. I'm thinking that, everyone's outside of Malcolm Brogdon. I think everyone that's out right now is going to remain out. So this could definitely be a shorthanded Indiana team. Now, the top three guys, Halliburton, Brogdon, Hield, I don't think any of them stand out on this slate if they're all playing. Brogdon at 7,400 would probably be my favorite just because I think his price point is the most appealing. If this game does stay close, we should get, 35, 36 minutes from Brogdon. He's been productive when he's gotten minutes. He's been inconsistent, but, the ceiling is always there for Brogdon. So I'd have some interest in him, but I think the front court guys is where we really want to target. So without Isaiah Jackson, assuming he's out, without Jalen Smith, assuming he's out too, that should open up a lot of minutes for Goga, and 4,900 for Goga. I like this play a lot. I mean, he played 29 minutes against Sacramento on Wednesday. Wasn't super high on Goga Wednesday because Jackson was playing, but then Jackson got injured, and that helped to give more minutes for Goga, and he played 29 minutes. I would think he gets similar minutes today if Jackson and especially Jalen Smith, if those guys are both out again. So I do like Goga as a value play, 4,900 on DK, pretty cheap. He's pretty cheap on Yahoo as well. $15 over there. He is someone that did stand out to me at first look. I think Shea Brissett's minutes would be pretty secure. He probably would play like 30 to 32 minutes, so he'd definitely be viable. And then Terry Taylor, we saw play a good amount off the bench, 29 minutes. If there's no Jalen Smith and no Isaiah Jackson, we'd probably get like mid to high 20s minutes from Terry Taylor, and he's only 3,500. He would be someone that I kind of be circled on as a value play. So there could be a lot to go to from Indiana. And then like Justin Anderson, he did start again. He didn't play that well. Only had 19 DK points in 31 minutes. I don't think he'd start again because I'd assume with Brogdon back, if Brogdon plays, that Brogdon will start. But yeah, if Justin Anderson starts again, I mean, he's minimum salary, so that's like another guy we could look to for value. Could be a lot to like on Indiana depending on who winds up playing here, or who doesn't wind up playing here, I should say, because if there's a lot of guys out again, there's going to be some value to go to from this Indiana team. Now, on the other side with Memphis, Ja Morant did not play Wednesday. We really don't have any update on Ja's status for today's game. They played Brooklyn at home on Wednesday. Like, you would think if Ja was healthy that he would have played that game and then probably sit against Indiana. So it doesn't really make much sense to me for them to sit Ja against Brooklyn, but then play him against Indiana. I feel like it would have been the other way around. He should have played Wednesday and then sat Thursday. So I'm thinking that Ja probably sat Wednesday because he's not fully healthy, and he's probably going to sit again against a bad Pacers team. So I'm expecting Ja to be out again. If he is out again, I mean, we kind of know who we want to go to here. Obviously, Desmond Bane, Triple J, Dylan Brooks would all get boost. They would all become appealing options. And then Tyus Jones, I mean, 4,300 on Draftkings, he's just way too cheap. On Yahoo, he's minimum salary. He's a top value play over there as well, assuming that Ja Morant is out again. We saw Tyus Jones start in place of Ja, played 35 minutes, had 34 DK points. He's just been great whenever he's gotten to start in place of Ja. Whenever he gets minutes, he's always productive. So definitely would like Tyus Jones today. He'd be the best value play on the slate if he winds up starting again for Ja. And then guys like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks I'd have some interest in. Specifically Dylan Brooks, I think 5,700 for Dylan Brooks is probably too cheap here. He played 34 minutes, which was the most he's played since he's come back from his injury. He played 34 minutes on Wednesday against Brooklyn. To be determined if he plays today. He is coming back from an injury. He's been playing, he's played about 5 or 6 games since he's come back from injury, but this is a back-to-back, and he hasn't played on a back-to-back since he's come back from injury, so keep an eye on his status. Expecting him to play today, though. I think at 5,700, Dylan Brooks does stand out as a solid option if Ja's out. And I do like Dylan Brooks on Yahoo, too, at $24. he'll be someone that I kind of look to on Yahoo as well. There's going to be a lot to like on Memphis today if Ja winds up sitting again. Now, if Ja plays, that's obviously going to change my thoughts on this team. Ja, if he plays in 9,800, I would like a good amount because this is obviously a great spot against a really bad Pacers team and a really bad Pacers defense. But for now, expecting him to be out, and that makes a lot of these Pacers guys look pretty, or a lot of these Memphis guys look pretty appealing. But let's move on to the next game, Washington and Milwaukee. So on Washington today, no Kyle Kuzma, which does make some guys look appealing here. Kristaps Porzingis finally got big minutes last game, played 32 minutes, the most he's played since he's been with Washington. He had a massive game against Houston, put up 57 Draftkings points. Not nearly as good of a spot here going up against Milwaukee, but if Porzingis is now able to play 30-plus minutes, I do have some interest in him because Porzingis should be really productive when he's out there, especially with Kuzma not out there right now. And the minutes, getting up to 32 minutes was good to see for Porzingis, so I think if we get like 32, 34 minutes from Porzingis here, he's got the upside, especially with how much usage he should get with Kuzma out right now. So definitely interested in Porzingis. I think Denny Avdia and Rui both should benefit without Kuzma. I think Rui is a guy that I would like quite a bit for value, assuming he starts again. In the last 2 games that Kuzma has been out, Rui has started, played 25 and 30 minutes. Been solid, especially last game. He had 29 DK points in those 30 minutes. Game before that against the Lakers wasn't as good. But 4,500 for Rui is probably still a little bit too cheap. If he starts and plays around 30 minutes, do like him as a value play. And that's probably it from Washington. Kispert, Daniel Gafford, Ish Smith, even on a shorter slate, 5 games. I don't really think I'm going to go to these guys. So let's move on to the other side of this game with Milwaukee. And looking at the Bucks here, no Chris Middleton once again from Milwaukee. So we should get pretty heavy rolls for both Giannis and Drew. And I think on this short slate, Giannis looks like the best pay-up option in my opinion. He's 11-7 on DraftKings. The price tag came down a little bit. The matchup against Washington is fantastic. He should just destroy Washington. They don't have anyone to stop him. They're probably going to put Porzingis on him. They might put Rui on him. It's going to be a mismatch either way. And so far this year, when he's played Washington, he's crushed against them. He's averaged 71 DraftKings points through 2 games against the Wizards. The only concern today is that this game does have a really big spread. I think right now Milwaukee's favored by 12.5. So there is some blowout risk here. But man, if the game can stay close, Giannis should absolutely crush. $57 on Yahoo, 11-7 on DraftKings. He's my favorite pay-up option on this slate. Usage should be even higher without Middleton. Him and Drew are going to be the 2 guys that really dominate the usage. So I like both those guys quite a bit. I think Drew at 8K is a very solid option as well. Last game without Middleton in a blowout, he played 32 minutes, had 40 DraftKings points. Kind of had a slow start to the game and didn't have the best first half, but he really kicked it on in the second half, had a big scoring game. Definitely think there's more upside for Drew without Middleton. So I think Drew's definitely in play. And then I do want to mention that last game they actually started Brook Lopez over Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis went back to the bench, so I'm not really interested in Bobby Portis. Brook Lopez, though, I do like quite a bit. Brook Lopez played 24 minutes last game, was announced as a starter, and he actually got pulled with 4 minutes left in the game because it was a blowout. So Brook Lopez was on pace to play 28 minutes last game had the game stayed close. So I think we get 26, 28 minutes from Brook Lopez today if this game stays close. Brook Lopez has never been a tremendous point per minute player, but he's 4,300 and he's probably going to play 28 minutes, which I think is good enough. Especially right now, we don't have a ton of standout value outside of some of those Memphis guys. We could get some more value as the day goes on, depending on who's in or out. But I do like Brook Lopez if he's starting again. 4,300 on DK. I have him circled as a value play, and on Yahoo, he's actually minimum salary over there. So definitely like Brook Lopez as a minimum salary value play on Yahoo today. And that's probably it from Milwaukee. Grayson Allen gets a bump in usage without Middleton, but I think at 4,200, probably priced where he should be. Pat Connaughton probably plays a few more minutes without Middleton. He did have a good game last game. I think if I had to go to a value buck outside of Brook Lopez, Pat Connaughton would probably be the next guy that I'd target. Between Grayson Allen, Connaughton, or Wes Matthews, I think Connaughton's my favorite there. But that's it for this team. Let's move on to the next game, Chicago and New Orleans. So Chicago today they're another team we're going to have to watch the injury report. Right now, Zach LaVine is probable, so Zach LaVine's expected to play, but DeMar DeRozan is questionable. So we don't really know if DeMar DeRozan's going to be in or out. Assuming DeRozan, Vooch, and LaVine are all playing, I don't think any of them stand out today. I mean, they're viable because they all have upside, but we've just seen so many times this season when all the big 3 from Chicago are healthy, it's just tough to predict who's going to have the good games. Some nights, none of them will have great games. Matchup against the Pelicans, I think, is one that can be exploited. So I wouldn't be surprised to see one of these Chicago guys do well, but none of them stand out as tremendous plays at their price tags. But by some chance, if DeRozan winds up sitting today, then that's definitely going to change things, because if DeRozan's out, then I really like Vooch and I really like Levine, because both those guys would get big bumps up in usage without DeRozan. And then a guy like Alex Caruso would benefit as well. Caruso has been starting lately. He has started the last 2 games, played 33 and 30 minutes. Hasn't been super productive, but I would think if DeRozan winds up sitting, like, that just opens up more usage for everyone. And Caruso should benefit a little bit. He's still somewhat cheap. Like, I don't hate Caruso as a value play. Maybe you see more minutes for the guards, like Io plays some more. Maybe Kobe White plays a little bit more. I don't know who would start for DeRozan. It probably would be either Javonte Green, maybe Patrick Williams, but it seems like they're kind of content playing Patrick Williams like 20 minutes off the bench right now. They don't really want to push him too much. So really, I think if DeRozan winds up sitting, it's just going to be Vooch and Levine that really stand out, and those are going to be the 2 guys that we're definitely going to be interested in from Chicago. On the other side, though, with the Pelicans, the Pelicans still going to be without Brandon Ingram. He is doubtful for today. With Brandon Ingram, expect to be out. I mean, CJ McCollum and Jonas Valanciunas should both have really big roles, should both play pretty good minutes if the game stays close. CJ McCollum specifically, we've seen big-time upside from. Now, the last 5 games, he hasn't been great, but we've seen him put up huge games. Had that big game against Memphis whenever Ingram was out, put up 58 DraftKings points. Against Orlando, had 48 DK points. Matchup against the Bulls here, the Bulls defense has been improving, especially since they got Caruso back. But I still think McCollum's role is going to be so good that, he's viable here. Not my favorite pay-up option by any means, but, definitely in play. Love the matchup for Jonas Valanciunas. He should crush here against Vucevic. And, the Bulls this season have been a team that have allowed a lot of points in the paint, which is where, Vooch does a lot of his damage. He does his damage on the glass, or not Vooch, J-Val. So J-Val does a lot of his damage on the glass. He gets a lot of points, at the rim, gets a lot of putbacks. We saw him dominate against the Hornets last game in a really good matchup, had 28 points, or 24 points, 18 rebounds, 61 DraftKings points from J-Val last game. J-Val, he had that slow stretch for about 2 or 3 weeks where he was just mediocre every single night. Well, now the last few games, especially the last 2 games, we're starting to see that big ceiling from J-Val. 50 DraftKings points against Atlanta, 61 last game against Charlotte. I wouldn't be surprised to see another big game from J-Val here, so definitely interested in J-Val as a tournament play. The rest of the Pelicans, though, I'm not really high on. I don't see anything else that stands out here. Worth noting that Larry Nance is expected to make his debut with the Pelicans. Obviously he was traded from Portland to New Orleans. When he was on Portland, he wasn't healthy at the time, but he's gotten healthy now. He's probably expected to play. I don't think Larry Nance is going to be DFS relevant today, but I think him coming in just going to take more minutes away from like Jackson Hayes. Herb Jones might play a little bit less. Maybe Najee Marshall plays a little bit less. But did want to mention that Larry Nance is expected to make his debut for the Pelicans today. But that's it for that game. Let's move on to the last game of the night, the late night hammer, Suns and Nuggets. So looking at the Suns today, they are on a back-to-back. Normally the Suns, when they're on back-to-backs, they don't really ever rest guys too often. But we'll have to pay attention to the injury report. Devin Booker at 9,300. I have no issues going to on this slate. I don't think Booker's going to be someone that I prioritize. I think for me, I'm really trying to prioritize Jokic and Giannis, and right now Giannis I think is my favorite pay-up option. But Booker is always viable. He's very similar to CJ McCollum. He's just going to have a really big role with Chris Paul out, going to play big minutes, going to take plenty of shots, have the ball in his hands a ton. Never have an issue with Devin Booker. Don't love the matchup for Ayton going up against Jokic. I think this is a spot where maybe Ayton could struggle a little bit. Hasn't been great against Jokic this season. Jokic not really a guy that I love attacking, but for what it's worth, Ayton had a huge game against Cat on Wednesday against Minnesota. He put up 61 DraftKings points, which I'm pretty sure is like his best game of the season. I mean, we haven't seen over 60 DK points all year from DeAndre Ayton, so he's coming off a huge game. Don't love the spot though against Jokic. Probably not going to go to Ayton today. Cameron Payne is 6,900. I think it's priced where he should be. Same with Mikal Bridges. Really, the Suns are not that appealing here. I think Devin Booker's the one guy I could see going to. Outside of Booker, I don't love much on Phoenix. And then on the other side of this game with Denver, I think Jokic is the one guy I'm looking to. Jokic obviously is in play today, and is probably my second favorite stud on the slate behind Giannis. I think I would give Giannis just the upper hand over Jokic, just because I think the matchup's better for Giannis. But I mean, Jokic has been able to succeed even in tough matchups. We've seen him put up massive games, even against good defensive teams. Denver, if they can keep this game close, you would have to think it's because Jokic is putting up a huge game. He's just the entire offense. The entire Nuggets offense runs through Jokic. The dude has huge upside every night. His role is going to be absurd. He's going to play big minutes, going to have the ball in his hands a ton. He just does everything when he's out there. Again, don't love the matchup. I think Phoenix will probably do a good job of double teaming Jokic, making life as tough as possible for him. But the guy's still so good that he can excel here even in a tough matchup. I just think given that Giannis is facing the Wizards, I would probably rather go to Giannis today. But the rest of Denver outside of Jokic, I mean, Bones has been playing well off the bench, but he's up to 5,200 now. Aaron Gordon and Will Barton have both just been so inconsistent. I mean, Gordon had a decent game last game, so I guess 5K for Aaron Gordon, and that's fine. I mean, I just never play these guys. Like, when Jokic is healthy, I just really never play Barton, Gordon, or Morris. It's a 5-game slate, so we don't have a ton of options. So if you wanted to play one of them, it's fine. But there's not much that stands out on Denver outside of Jokic for me. And that's it, guys. That's it for these 5 games. Shorter slate, but I did want to go over these 5 games, kind of give you guys my quick thoughts, what stands out to me, taking a first look at the slate on Wednesday night. As you can tell, there is a lot of pending news today. I'm still waiting for news on John Morant, DeMar DeRozan. Got to see if Malcolm Brogdon's going to be able to play. Zach LaVine's probable, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. There's some teams on back-to-backs as well. We got some injury news on Toronto, some injury news on Indiana to watch. A lot up in the air right now, so we'll have to pay attention to news throughout the day. As always, I do stream an hour before lock, so if you're not tuning into the streams every day, I do go live an hour before lock, so I'll be live at 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel. We'll be talking through the slate once again, answering questions, talking through all the news that comes out during the day, how I'm kind of approaching the slate. So go give that stream a watch. If you have any questions, you can give or get your questions answered in the stream. I'm in there, at least 25, 30 minutes talking through things with you guys. Definitely check that out if you are interested. Again, I will be live an hour before lock, 6:30 Eastern, to break down today's slate with you guys. But I appreciate you watching the video, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Again, go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. You can take a look at PrizePicks board for Thursday's games. Make some picks for yourself. Again, you have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money over there. Give them a try. Sign up. Use promo code NOAH. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. But good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.